Hi again. I am Fathom, and I am the founder of Other Fiber Creations. Today, instead of me giving you a vlog where I'm talking about the project as I make it from beginning to end, this is going to be more of a I tell you about a project I made recently kind of thing. The pattern in question is the Cocoa Latte Shawl from KristinesCrochets. Wonderful pattern. I made it up. I used a different sized hook than she called for, but same kind of yarn. I used the Diamond Luxury Yarns Springtime yarn. You'll see it throughout the video in this kind of like light blue to teal kind of ombre effect. It's a cotton acrylic blend, weight 1, cotton acrylic, duh. I just said that. And this particular shawl, I had a plan for it when I started it. See, I've mentioned in a few videos that I as of this morning, lived with my best friend. Her name is Shawl. We all call her Leah because duh. And she has been my best friend for 9 and going on 10 years as of this coming May in 2024. We have known each other for a long ass time. It's past 30 seconds, we'll be fine. And we met. I had been working at a convention. I ran social deduction games. For those who don't know, if you've ever played Among Us, if you've ever played Mafia, Werewolf, Two Rooms and a Boom, Coup, One Night Werewolf, any of those.
It's one of the games that you have a party that is in the minority who knows who's on their team, trying to eliminate everybody else in the game who's the majority, but they don't know anything but their own.
I was running one of these games. I was underneath the giant escalators leading into the convention. If you've ever been to a convention, you can kind of visualize what I'm talking about. It was the big escalators with the signage. We were right underneath it. And this girl cosplaying Honey Nozuka, Honey from Ouran High School Host Club, is sitting in my circle. We're joking around. I'm moderating, putting on some charisma as I'm telling the story. And that was it. We got along. She found me funny. And the next year, we met again. And it was a moment of, we had a volunteer who was not good at their job and threw a chair at someone. And in that moment of need, she's like, I'll step up. I like you. Sure. I've not really run the games before, but I'm open to learning. And she learned on the spot. And we were suddenly a team. A match made in heaven, so to speak. I had never had somebody to sit and talk about this with. My parents were... My dad, kinda absent. He's around, but he's emotionally distant. My mom didn't understand it, so I couldn't really talk with her about it. I would try and explain, but she couldn't keep up in the same way because she wasn't in the gaming scene the way I was. And once a month I'd see her for us to work on it. I would train her on things. I started training other volunteers. We built up a team from it being just the two of us to like 25 people on the team. And it was some of the best time of my life. I've mentioned on this channel and kind of hinted at, there was a massive falling out with a lot of my friends. Most of them were people that I worked with at that convention. Somebody spread a bunch of rumors, and I stepped down from my position because I wasn't going to be talked about in that way. It was a lot of he said, she said, and I wasn't going to stay somewhere bad for my mental health for that. Leah had the same thing happen to her. She came with me. We lived together by this point because we had both left 2 different abusive households to come live together. Not our parents, other places. And she's been there for me through thick and through thin. She met this guy online. They had known each other for a while, but they started dating December of last year, right before she and I started living together. And the big plan is that she was going to move to live with him, originally in California, but they both decided to move somewhere new, and they're in Arkansas. That's where they're going. And since I was out of state until a couple of days ago, I decided I wanted to make her something. And I sat and I was like, I've made her a blanket before. I've made her plushies before. She's going somewhere a lot colder than Georgia. So where and what? Like, what's appropriate to make for where she's going? And I decided, I know for a fact she hates puns. And so I thought, only thing I can do is utilize a pun. And so I made her a shawl, Leah. Instead of Leah, it's a shawl. Shawl, Leah. I thought it was funny. And so I told no one about this plan. Because a lot of the people that I talk to now are people who Leah kind of knows in passing. And my fear was they might tell her, or they might tip off they knew I was working on something. So I acted like I had no plans with this project. And in my previous footage that I filmed for this is my 3rd time filming this, by the way, it's clear that I was talking about, like, yeah, I just spontaneously picked this. I didn't. And so I thought I'd make a more authentic version of that. So I picked up the yarn when I was out with some friends. In next week's video, you're gonna see the other yarn I picked up when I was out with them. But this yarn, I saw it, and the first thing I thought when I saw it is, it's the color of Leah's eyes. Which, she dresses very casually and based off what's cheap, not things that compliment her a lot of the time, because we're broke, duh. And I was like, I'm gonna make her something that kind of complements her features. And so it was part of a grab bag of yarn that I think I'll probably have a clip of it somewhere. And I was like, I might use both of these. They both kind of match, but that first one I need to make sure that's the center of this shawl. So I grabbed that, and time is ticking. I was originally thought I can finish this like in a day or two. But I realized I'm going to be helping her pack and move and all these things. So I took the yarn and I took it with me to my boyfriend's work party. So I originally filmed an intro right before this work party. I had like 20 seconds while he was in the bathroom. I did a bunch of last minute calculations. I was like, cool, I need this much yarn to go with me. I need this size hook. There's the scissors. There's the sewing notions. Oh God, does it all fit in my bag? I hope it fits in my bag and doesn't catch on anything. And I shoved it in the work bag and off we went. And it was so loud. And so I had a lot of trouble filming when I was there. And so I had to mute everything. And a lot of people wanted to talk to me. So I was working and talking because that's how life goes, I guess. And I was really stressed about trying to get as much done as I could, but I actually got through a lot of it because people were drinking and having fun, and it kind of worked out for the best that way. We did the event, then he went to a bar with some coworkers and their wives, and I went with them. I'm sober. I practice sobriety. I don't drink at all. So I sat in the corner crocheting, and so many of these wives were like, wow, it's so brave of you to be so cool, to like not care what people think, because like I'd be scared of embarrassing my husband by like bringing my crafting and seeming bored, but like you're just doing your own thing. And I was like, yeah, A, it's my job, I don't care. B, I pay attention better when I'm doing something with my hands, and so it's either I sit and do something on my phone with my hands or I'm crocheting, and I look a lot more active, like I'm listening actively, when I'm using my crocheting as the tool. And they're like, that's so cool of you. And so I had like 6 women all wanting to sit and talk with me. It was a lot more fun than I thought it'd be, considering how burnt out I was. But we sat and did that. And the next day I filmed a bit for the sweater stuff. And then I grabbed the shawl again to work on in the dark for the entire 4-hour drive back here. So I got less done on this car ride than I wanted to. I could only work via feeling the yarn because of how dark it was. We made a pit stop for my boyfriend to sleep a little bit on the way there because he was exhausted from work. So luckily, I got some done for like a half hour while we sat there, which is where this footage is from. But it was very difficult to work on this on the way back, which was frustrating, but I chugged along anyways because I was under a time crunch. At this point, I had that sinking feeling in my stomach of just, ooh, this is not good. She's leaving soon. And I know, like, there's the reaction of, she's still going to be your best friend, whether she's 100 miles away, 1,000 miles away, or in the same apartment as you. But I don't talk about it a lot on here because the point is my art and not my mental health. Duh. I'm sure you already noticed. I get anxious and I do things when I'm not paying attention. I have a dissociative disorder, DID. I was diagnosed in 2020. And I have a lot of trouble with people permanence. Most people, it's object permanence. If the object is in front of you and suddenly it's not in front of you, it doesn't exist anymore. For me, it's people. Items, I can conceptualize they exist. They existed at some point, they still exist. With people, it's one of those where it's like one day they're in my life. And if I don't see them for long enough, I can't conceptualize what they're like now because they've probably changed, and my brain just goes, oh, so they're not real. They're a character. You imagined them. You hallucinated them. They're a figment of your imagination. You really trust your memory. Texting does not help because my brain goes, this is not the same as a person. This is you're playing Mystic Messenger moment. Video calling, it's like, wow, I'm watching a live stream. Because live streamers don't feel real to me. They feel like I'm watching a YouTube video. YouTubers. When I watch myself in videos, I'm like, wow, that person's annoying. I don't like watching myself. Which sounds bad, but it's one of those where it's like the disconnect until it suddenly hits me. Oh, that's me! Okay, cool. I'm not that annoying. Teehee. So she and I already knew I was going to have this massive roadblock of she'll feel real to me for a while, and then suddenly I'll hit the wall. And she'll have never existed at all. And it sucks and it hurts because you care so much and then suddenly you're numb. And it's terrifying when you love somebody and suddenly all the feelings you have are like in like a capped bottle where it's super loose. You can't wrench off the lid no matter how much you want to. So she and I knew this feeling was going to come for me. And so it's been very difficult for both of us, kind of prepping for that. So I could feel that anxiety building in me on the drive home of, oh God, she's leaving. And I don't know when she'll feel real again. Skipping ahead a bit, we get back, I hug on her, we sit and hang out a little bit. And my boyfriend, he let me know he's gonna leave like the next morning so I can have as much time with Leah as possible. And we spent the day sorting through her clothes. So the first day I was back, I sat, made breakfast for my boyfriend and I worked on the shawl a bit. The first day back after he left was mostly a crash day. She and I sat and started on the clothing, but mostly I spent the day in my room working on stuff. Because I was socially burnt out from being in Huntsville. I saw so many people, and Leah understands that about me, so we worked a little bit, but mostly I sat and worked in my room. The next day, we got into the brunt of the clothing, and dear God, so many clothes. I did not realize she had so many clothes. It was like a full closet worth, plus 3 full laundry bags for us to sort through. I didn't have to do any of the hard part, luckily. I got to sit and play Team Fight Tactics, that's what it's called, on my phone to have something to do with my hands. And as you can kind of see in the footage, I actually worked on the shawl in front of her. She had no idea it was for her. She is just so used to me grabbing a project and going that it was just another day of me working to her. She didn't know until near the end that it was actually for her to keep, which I'm very proud of myself for managing to pull off. So yeah, there it is. So I sat and worked on it while we talked a bit. And that was pretty alright. I enjoyed those moments. I could tell that it was like the tension of her leaving was in the air. But we still engaged and enjoyed every moment we got. Especially when we made dinner on Sunday night. Sunday night, we were sitting making dinner together for the last time because the next day her boyfriend would get here. And I warned her, like, when he gets here, he and I don't always see eye to eye. We have beef to an extent, but it's basically been squashed. But, like, we kind of, like, we're anxious and not anxiety driven. We're awkward. That's the word I'm looking for. We're awkward around each other. So, like, it's going to be different when he gets here. We have what we have, the way we've had it, until he walks in that door. When he walks in, that is the moment that our dynamic will permanently change. Not in a bad way. It just will. It's how it works. And she's like, I'm aware of that. And so we made dinner. And in those quiet moments, I could just see on her face, and I'm sure she saw on mine, just the trying to take it all in. Because you knew it was going to end soon. So, we did that. And the next day, I got up a little bit early to continue working on the shawl. I was starting to come down to the wire, and I knew that the boyfriend was getting there that night. So as soon as I heard that Leah was up, I put the shawl down, and I went to go help her, because she had to pack the bathroom stuff. I'm gonna note now, I love Leah. One of her major faults is time management, because they left 6 hours later than planned for the trip, for the 12-hour drive from Georgia to Arkansas, because they had to stay up packing the morning of the drive. So we packed the bathroom stuff, and we made sure that her ESA, Beanie, the cat, took the anxiety meds that the vet gave her as like a test run. So that way she would be ready, and we would know how she would react the morning of the move. The boyfriend got here in like 2 hours early. We were mid-cry on the couch when this man shows up. And I'm like, I'm going upstairs now. I am not going to interrupt your date night. I'm leaving. And they're like, specifically Leah's like, are you sure you don't want to hang out? And I was like, I'm sure. I'm gonna go wash my tears away. So I go upstairs, she sits with her boyfriend, they have a good date night. And I filmed a bit, which was not a good choice on my part. But parts of it still kind of ring true for me. In particular, the main thing that was very powerful for me to have heard myself say when I reviewed the footage before deciding to refilm this video again.
And I'm not trying to get emotional on camera. It's just, it feels like every stitch I do is a stitch that's making it so I'll be farther and farther away from her. Every stitch brings me closer to her leaving.
Crocheting, which is as easy to me as breathing normally, was so hard on this project in particular. Once I got back, every stitch stung. Which, it's not like it was like a physical pain. And it's not like the pattern was bad. KristinesCrochets, if you're watching, your pattern, wonderful. I loved working it up. I used a 3.5 instead of a 4mm hook. Besides that, beautiful. But the reason it hurt is because it takes me like, I can do 1 or 2 stitches a second. And so every stitch I did was a manifestation of it being 1 second closer to her leaving. Which, I didn't know I was a poet, I guess? It hurt to hear, but it was the truth. Time was going to pass either way, but I was literally manifesting. I was holding the manifestation of said time passing in my hands, which is a thing with art. Every art piece that I make, every clothing item I do, every plushie I make has a story behind it, has a person I'm imagining making it for. And every stitch brings me 1 step closer to the finish of something, of a story, of a project, of a chapter of life where you live together in a shitty apartment. And I cried a bit over it in the video, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna get back to work now, mid-sob. I didn't get back to work. Duh. I worked the next morning.
And after an hour or two, I, shockingly, finished. And I remember I sat there and I looked at this shawl and I was like, cool, I did it. It's done. I finished in time to give it to her before she leaves. But now what do I do with myself? Do I make something new? Do I start something just for me? Do I start something else for the shop? Do I start a new video? Do I film the outro for this one? What do I do with myself now that I've finished and I'm holding the representation that she's leaving in my hands? What do I do?
I started another shawl from KristinesCrochets Patterns, the Everest shawl. It's not going to be a video. This one's just I'm making it, it's going to get listed. I just need something to do with my hands. But it was just it's done. The chapter's done. The project's done. What do I do with myself? And I sat and I filmed the close of the video and I told the story of Leah and I meeting at the convention. And I cried in it. And I thought about it. And I was like, that's the important part of this video. It's not about me being sad. It's not about her leaving. It's not even really about the shawl, as much as the shawl does matter because it's a crochet company and it's a crochet channel. It's mostly about celebrating the good moments I got with her. And so I asked permission from the people I was with, and I took a couple clips while I was out with them. I asked Leah, can I put your face in my video? And she was like, sure. And I was like, really? You sit and bully me for filming regularly. And she's like, I do. Because it's funny. It's for the bit. And I was like, it is kind of funny sometimes. And she's like, yeah, but I want you to be successful. But why do you want to film me? And so I told her I had made her the shawl. And she's like, the one you were working on? I was like, yeah, it's for you. It's always been for you. And she was very caught off guard and she cried over it. And I cried a little bit because, duh, I'm an emotional person. And I was like, I'll give you the shawl when we get back. Just remind me to weave in some ends. But I want to show them who I'm giving it to. And she said, okay. So, the next couple of clips don't capture Leah as a person. As a whole, that is. But they capture a couple snapshots. And I think that's something. So, here it is. I'm filming Leah. Here's the woman of the hour. There she is. This is Miss Shalia. I'm gonna miss you.
Well, I got a little buzz in my forehead.
Miss you. Surprise for filming again. How are you feeling about all this, Leah?
I'm ready for bed.
Ready for bed? Again? That's the third one tonight.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
You excited for Arkansas? It's gonna suit you.
No, I think it's just
There she is.
unconsenting get
Miss
drunk
America. How we holding, Leah?
Yep.
It is about 6 hours and 15 minutes until Miss Leah is set to leave.
Well, they said they want to push the ETA.
Okay. 7 hours.
It's something.
8 hours, something like
Sure
that.
is a thing. We sure
It's
will
one
leave.
work day away.
We will leave at a time.
We will leave at a time. By we, I mean her.
True.
I'll be here watching everything else.
All your shit. And
all.
selling whatever's left.
I gotta make money somehow,
Gotta
Leah.
make
Gotta
that
make
money.
ends meet.
Gotta make that money.
All in all, I'd make the shawl for her again. I'd make 100 shawls for her if she wanted them. And I probably wouldn't even charge her. But that is about it for this video. Because I have a metric crap ton of cleaning to do. Because, dear God, we had 5 people besides me in this house last night. So 6 of us total. They had a couple air mattresses out. She had the cat in a panic this morning. There's so much cleaning to do. So many dishes from last night. So many clothes to clean. So I'm gonna go work on that. The question of the day to you is, what's your best friend's name? And what's a good memory you have with them? I would love to hear about them in the comments below. If you liked this video, feel free to like, to comment, to subscribe. And if you'd like to support me, or see what else I've been making, and in fact selling afterwards, you can go to my Square site or my Etsy, down in the description below. That's it. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Up we go. There it is in her stuff to take. And there she is, packing.
It empty.
It empty.